Hello, this is a late video, so bear with me, yeah. This is going to be my August Pokemon TBR Wrap Up and Reset. So basically the reset is cleaning up everything to start the new month. I do have my September TBR up, but from going forward, I do want to have this up way earlier, but this is my life. So yes, we are gonna go through what I was supposed to catch, Team Rocket, what I read, what I didn't read, so on and so forth. Okay, so to catch my Vulpix, which is a beautiful cover, I had to read a book with a beautiful cover. See how this is? See? Yeah. I read The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. I love this book. It's one of my new favorites. One, this edition is absolutely gorgeous. And then two, I love the vibes of it. You know, it was funny, yet high stake. There was a mystery and there was tension. What more could you possibly ask for? But these two basically have two very completely different careers, I guess you could call them. And there's like different like factions, and their two factions absolutely despise each other. So she is basically a doctor and he is basically like, he kills people. His faction is for like assassinations, and she is part of a faction that does not believe or condemn like killing or death in any way, only saving and doing no harm, all of that. But he comes down with some sort of like disease, and she's the only one that could possibly heal him. So I love this book so much, 5 stars, and I call Vulpix. Next, I needed to catch Eevee, and for this one, it's a hyped book, and I read Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This is, you know, quite hyped, so I didn't read it, but I really enjoyed this one. Our main character can be a little dense, and I think at some point I mentioned her denial is real, and it gets worse in book 2. I'm currently on book 3, but her denial is absolutely astounding. This does happen to, like in real life, you know, denial makes it so you are just blind to everything around you, and sometimes even blind to the truth. So yeah, that was probably like the part where I was just like, especially in book 2, but we're only talking about this one, where I'm just like, at some point you just have to accept things. It's wild. My air conditioning just turned on. Okay, so yeah, so we have basically two more like factions or castes, but we have humans and then we have descended, who are half god, half human, and there's this whole like system in place where the 100, like the regular mortal human people, are really just like smashed down by the system, and this young lady right here basically infiltrates because of certain things that happen, and things don't exactly go as planned. Like, she realizes that like not all descendants are bad, some are good, some are evil like she expected, some people are just in between. But she's kind of stuck in between her mortal life and her new like descended, half kind of descended life. Like, she's getting involved with descended, but she still lives with the mortals. And so there's a lot of tension that happens there. But I really did enjoy it, except for her just utter lack of using her brain half the time. But I do like how badass she is. So for Oddish, there was this, and I decided instead of childhood favorite, because last year I did read a lot of those, that I am going to be changing this to out of my TBR jar. And so the book I picked out of my TBR jar to catch this guy was Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and I did not read it, so my Oddish got away. But then I also got the opportunity to catch a Bulbasaur, and the theme for this one is grief. If you watch the OG Pokemon, you know why. And I was supposed to read You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. So I did not read this book, but I still caught my Bulbasaur because I read this book. So it's not out of a TBR jar, so I can mix and match books to, yeah. So even though I didn't read the book I said I was going to, since it's not out of a jar, I could swap it with another one. So I read this. And for this one, I really loved it. You know, it did follow grief like to the tea, I felt like. And there was just something about it where I was just intrigued and invested in the characters and their happiness and all of that. I really liked it. But this is one of those romances. It's also a rom-com, so it was a little endearing. But basically, you know, one character breaks the heart of another, time jump, and then they get a second chance. So we basically have two doctors, but two doctors for two different things. There's obviously miscommunication, and it's heartwarming, but it does handle grief very, very well. So I know it's not telling you a lot about this book, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, if you've read this book and then have recommendations for other ones like it, give them to me. And then we had Team Rocket, where I was supposed to read one book from all three of my jars. So my currently reading jar, my Pokemon TBR jar, my overall TBR jar. And for those, I read one of the three. So the first one I read was from my currently reading jar, and that was A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sarah-ndipity. I finally finished this series. It's been years, and the ending. You know, when there's a revolution, not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the series, especially when it has to do with like a war college and a revolution. But I was a little heartbroken at the end. It has a semi-happy ending. I will say that. It could have been happier, obviously, but it wasn't. But highly recommend. I love any book or book series where there's a revolution involved. And the character growth. The character growth in this series was fantastic. The magic system was fantastic. How they handled the revolution and those characters, fantastic. So I loved this book. But yeah, so finally finished the series. It feels like an end of an era, to be completely honest. And then I was supposed to read Girls of Fate and Fury by Natasha Nunn. Did not read it. And then I was supposed to read the next Percy Jackson book. Did not read it. I decided I'm DNFing the series because I'm just not interested. I know that may be heartbreaking and may anger some people, but I'm not interested. And it being on my TBR and like the prospect of me maybe picking that out of my jar again, I was just like, do I want to? Like, why am I even reading this series? So it's good. I recommend it, but I'm not interested anymore. So did not read that. And then because I did not read all these, I did not beat Team Rocket. If you want to see which Pokemon Team Rocket stole from me and I have to get back this month, check out my TBR video. Head on over there. Okay, now time for the update / reset for the jars. So that's like the reset part of the game. But this is my overall TBR jar, and I will put in here the books that became part of my TBR over the past month. I have two that are from book boxes. The first one is Voidwalker by S.A. McLean. I do want to do a book haul at some point, so I'm not going to say much about these books, but it looks really good. I love it. Love this cover. Oh my god, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like, what the heck? And then I did get Castle in the Air and House of Many Ways by Diana Wayne Jones. And so book 2 of the House Moving Castle series became part of my physical TBR. So another one that is absolutely gorgeous. We love special editions here. And then the two that I went out and bought was The Witch Who Trades with Death by C.M. Olongi, and there's this one, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I should just read this at some point because it seems like a book I would love. Why haven't I read it? I don't know. You see all these? Almost none of them are read. Yeah, so these are the ones that joined my physical TBR jar. And then for my currently reading jar, Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. The dust jacket is literally right there, but I am too lazy. So I am in the middle of this one. I am on page 534, so I don't have a lot to go. It was added to my currently reading jar, so. And then my Pokemon TBR jar itself, here it is. I have to put Girls of Fate and Fury back into the jar. And then I did say I would read Scythe and then didn't. So this is the jar where all the books I say I'm going to read but don't go into that jar. So throughout the month I said I was going to read Scythe, didn't. So now adding it into that jar when it originally came from the larger. These two are going in there. But yeah, so that is my wrap up / reset. I hope you enjoyed. I want to figure out a better way of organizing recording this video, but I just wanted to get this one up. So here we are. Like, comment, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.